So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728, and I am making flatbread. I'm trying to buy a huge sack of flour and very regularly make flatbread. Why? Because I want to be prepared for anything, the end of the world. I figure it's coming, and I need to know how to make flatbread. So you're like, well, wait, how is that helping you to prepare for the end of the world? Well, because I probably need to have a storage of food, right? Um, and I can buy a big bag of flour, but if I'm not using it regularly, what's probably going to happen is it's probably going to maybe go bad, maybe insects are going to get in it, mice, something is going to happen. And then, let's say I have a big bag of flour and it's the end of the world, of civilization. How do I know? I have no practice in making this thing. And then you're like, well, there might not be any electricity, or there might not be any gas, or there might not be X, Y, or Z. How are you going to cook this flatbread? Well, I have kind of a plan. Um, Matches should work for a while. Uh, and we have some wood that we could probably dry out. Of course, we happen to have some gas canisters, so that should work for a while on a stove. So hopefully, if the entire house is not destroyed, that flour and my flatbread making skills, um, in combination with the dried wood, the gas stove, and everything, it should tide us over for a little while in case of, you know, something really horrible like the food chain is disrupted. So I'll have some practice. Of course, I should probably be getting some canned stuff anyway, but I kind of have canned stuff. Um, yeah, maybe sardines and tuna. Maybe I should have more of that. So, yeah, I'm learning to make flatbread so that if I need it, I'll be able to survive on this thing. And of course, I will be able to cycle through my supply of flour. And of course, it means that I will be able to have this flour stored because I know that I use it regularly and I cycle through it. Um, Also have large container of rice, so that works too. Potatoes, they're not going to keep forever. So between those two things, I'm kind of thinking that I should be okay. So yeah, I mean this isn't a particularly long one, but that's why I'm making flatbread. And I suppose I can go into what I have discovered from making this flatbread. I don't know if it's going to work in the future, depending on the electrical power and whatever. Now, this is the deal. You, well, right now, and like I said, I don't know if it's going to work, but bowl of maybe 2 cups of flour, and I warm the water. Don't know if that's going to be available in the future, if electricity is going to be available, but you warm the water first, and then don't use your hands, because if you use your hands, everything gets stuck on your hands, and here you are at the end of it trying to get the stuff off of your hands. So I use a fork, and with this warm water, I let this stuff mix up. And for a while there, I was not using any baking soda or anything, which, I was kind of like, what was the point? And I saw a recipe that didn't have any baking soda as well. So or maybe it did. I can't remember. It didn't have any salt. I think it was just flour and water. And I was like, yeah, I'll just keep going with that. But then was looking up some other thing, and they were making using baking soda in that, and I was like, I don't know about baking soda. I want to be able to put this dough in the fridge and just leave it. And baking soda, I think I might not be able to um, put this thing in the fridge and then come back to it later. So anyway, I decided I just need to know what's the right ratio um, to add. So basically, it's half a teaspoon of baking soda to a cup of flour, and it's about twice as much flour to water. And you can't pat the flour down because I have basically with my uncle, what I do is I squeeze that into a measuring cup because he gets about 6 measuring cups of food that I blend for him every day. So I'm used to like patting that rice into the measuring cup. Um, when I did that, and then I used that 2 to 1, 2 flour to 1 water, it didn't work. I'd seen that somewhere. They were like, yeah, 2 to 1. But when I patted it in, nope. If you just scoop, dump, um, it seems, last time I checked, which was today, it seems like it works. That it you know, you're not going to get something that's going to be too sticky or too dry. You eventually end up with something that is just tacky enough to be malleable. Because if it's too dry, it's gonna be more difficult to flatten and then fry in a frying pan because that's basically what I'm doing. So now I get a cutting board, I suppose, and I dust the cutting board with flour every time I'm going to make a new flatbread. So I take a gob of this dough, and now I'm trying to find ways of not using. I don't have a measuring a rolling pin anymore. So what I was using was, one of those mugs. So I just use the mug, yeah, like a coffee mug, uh, to roll the dough out. Um, but my family is not being helpful. I think I wanted to take. I don't drink coffee or anything, so there's no. But I should take one of these and put it aside to be like my semi-rolling pin. Anyway, I roll those out and onto the dusted cutting board. Isn't there another way to say cutting board? Because I'm not cutting anything. But anyway, as flat as I can, put that in the frying pan on a little bit less than medium heat. But it seems like the heat is accumulative. So you figure, oh, it's on medium heat. Let me put it in. Well, it seems to get hotter and hotter and hotter the longer that you leave it. But a little bit less than medium heat seems to be okay. And this stuff, it comes out a lot softer than if you don't put any baking soda in it at all, which is great because it was kind of really, really chewy. Um, and this way, I'm not gonna regret making this stuff. Oh my God, why is my stuff so chewy? So, yeah. But, and also, I mean, depending on where you are and the price of flour, you're not gonna be amazed. But I find that it's like 1/6 the price of if you buy bread, and it works for so many things. You can put peanut butter on this flatbread, you can put jam, you can put cheese, like if you have a pizza kind of thing. Um, yeah, it's really multi-purpose, and it's kind of like a musical chairs of chance, where it's like you've bought your bag of flour and now you have something until it goes down to zero, And of course, if something horrible happens when you are at zero, um, but it's like you have a bigger butt, right? You have a bigger butt that by having this big bag of flour. So if something horrible happens, it has to happen at exactly the wrong time, like when you're halfway through the flour, and then you'd be like, this isn't great. But if something happens exactly when you buy a new bag of flour, you're set. And if it happens anywhere before the flour is done, um, at a small amount. So, but anyway, that's my thoughts on that, and that's my recipe for making this flatbread of mine. I really have to time the whole process and see. But the whole reason why I went into doing this now is because I was kind of like, I have to practice in order to improve. Um, and that's another reason. I need that if and when things go south, as they say, that I'm prepared. Um, so even if I don't have a bag of flour, something happens. If I find a bag of flour, I am not shit out of luck, as people say. All I need is that bag of flour. I don't need a chicken every day. Well, you know, I probably need other stuff of vitamins and minerals and blah blah blah. But even if I don't have a bag of flour, I am prepared in case I encounter a bag of flour. If somebody's giving out stuff and all they have is a bag of flour to give out, I'll be like, I'll take it, thank you. You know. So there's that too. Even if for some reason I have no flour or um, something happens to the flour, like it all gets blown up or something. So anyway, that's me, and thanks for listening if you did. Peace.